Well, first, I just wanted an alternative to crumbling cash and crumbling credit. Most people don't think their number goes down when they're holding dollars. Once you understand the inflation rate, you realize your purchasing power is going down if you're not keeping up with the cost of cash. So your wealth is being destroyed. So first, I just wanted the number not to go down. I wanted to preserve wealth. We realized that it was high quality property. I think the epiphany comes when you realize that it's the dominant digital property network, and digital property is better than physical property in every way conceivable. If I theoretically design digital property, I want to store $1 billion, want to hold it in the palm of my hand, move it at the speed of light, vibrate it 1 million times a second. I want it to last forever. I want immortal, indestructible, infinite, all-powerful, programmable energy. Right? Matter is energy. Energy is matter. I could take $1 billion and turn it into a building. I could, in theory, turn a building back into $1 billion. I can buy $1 billion worth of electricity. I could buy $1 billion worth of guns. You know, money is ultimately monetary energy, and you can convert it into any kind of product or service or property. It's the apex. Once you realize that Bitcoin is digital property or digital money or digital energy, all of these things, then it becomes clear that everything else you could possibly own is inferior to that. You would really never want to own anything other than pure digital energy, right? Like, why do you want to own a building? The only reason you want to own a building, you are going to freeze to death if you didn't have something to live in, because otherwise you're going to freeze to death. Okay, that's a good reason. But with all your discretionary energy beyond that, if you chose to own a 50-story skyscraper in Manhattan, is that as good as digital? No, because the mayor of Manhattan can seize your building by eminent domain. If you're thinking you're going to rent the building out, a politician can tell you that you're not allowed to evict any of your tenants, even though they don't pay you. The property in the physical realm can be impaired by any political jurisdiction, anyone with jurisdiction over the property. That means the neighborhood review board, right? The neighborhood building committee can tell you can't put an awning in front of your building. The mayor, the governor, every regulator, OSHA, environmental review board, Congress, the Senate, the White House. Everybody in that physical domain can impair the value of your property. Not only that, is when they decide to tax your building, you can't move your building. And the third is, the building is not appealing to anybody else in the universe. If I'm a billionaire in Beijing, why would I want a skyscraper in Manhattan? If it's illegal for me to travel to Manhattan, why would I want to pay for that? So if you have $1 billion of property in Manhattan, it's not fungible and it's not desirable everywhere else on Earth. What I want is something that is universally desirable through all space-time. How desirable will your building be in 500 years? The building's not, right? And so there's another interesting dynamic here with physical property. There's a maintenance cost. The cost of maintenance is the theoretical investment every year you have to make in order to preserve the property value. You know, if you ever own a boat, you know what that is. Stop investing in the boat sinks. If you own a building, like, what's the useful life of a building? 40 years, 80 years, 100 years? Show me a building in Manhattan that's still good 200 years later, still desirable. Property in the physical domain doesn't hold its value through time, and it doesn't hold its value through space, and it's not fungible, right? The Rockefeller Center is not the same thing as 1,000 acres in Kansas. The Rockefeller Center is not even the same thing as another big building in Manhattan, whereas a Bitcoin is the same as a Bitcoin. Where do you get rid of volatility? One Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin.